Fitzpatrick out with the hip injury. Terry McLaurin.
Now looking to throw. Loops the ball up. Leaping catch by Garrett Wilson. Down inside.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Ins and Out of B podcast, everybody. I want to apologize for the little hiatus I had for a couple of weeks. I promised y'all the State of AFC video, but I had some personal things to take care of. Just one of the highlights of things, my mom and my sister, shout out to them. They both got their degrees. My mom got her master's from Liberty University, and my sister got her bachelor's at Howard University. So congratulations out there. And not only to them, shout out to all the graduates out there that getting their degrees and can't wait for the high schoolers get their diplomas, but especially for, brothers and sisters out there, from historically black colleges. So now, back to what I promised y'all. So one of the things I wanted to comment on this channel is I wanted to have this two-part series where we talk about the NFC and the AFC conferences, all the moves they made, how monumental they are, and all the things they did to make themselves better, and why I feel like it could be very potential down the line how these teams stack up in the future, So today we're going to cover the AFC conference. This is the main conference that has made plenty of moves, man. Just monumental moves, just franchise-changing moves. These are moves for now. These are moves that are for contending teams. Like almost every team in the AFC has literally gone better. And we'll cover the NFC and stuff like that. That's going to be a little touchy subject for me. I'm a Commanders fan and stuff. But anyway, let's get straight to the point, man. The AFC conference is going to be a juggernaut this year. A juggernaut. I'm talking about X-Men juggernaut. These moves that these teams made is just crazy, ridiculous. It's almost Madden, almost franchise-like. Just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And we're going to start off with the AFC East. And you already know we got the Buffalo Bills, New England Patriots, Miami Dolphins, and the New York Jets. Start off with the kings of those conferences as of right now. It's the Buffalo Bills. They have the best quarterback in that division. A lot of people will consider him, one of the top 5 elite quarterbacks in the league, and that's Josh Allen. I'm willing to say that right now. He's definitely in that elite category with his skill set, his physicality, his ability to throw in weather, cold weather, hot weather, his ability to move out the pocket and stuff. Is what these teams are looking for today. He is the stereotypical quarterback that every team looks for. And when you look at the Bills, their team was already set up by Sean McDermott. They had number 1 defense throughout the whole season until, they had little hiccups down the line. Then they faced Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in that epic playoff game. And I cannot wait for those teams to meet up again. But Buffalo definitely got better in the offseason. Just look at the moves they made. Just to note a few, they signed Von Miller to get from pass rush. They signed Commanders defensive tackle Tim Settle, a very underrated piece for that defensive line, so they can get some push in the 3 gap and the A and 3 technique A gap and things like that. So then you have Jamison Crowder, who's going to be replacing Cole Beasley in the slot. Now, Cole Beasley, had all the issues and stuff, but I'm going to talk about the player. Jamison Crowder is going to be very productive in this offense, and I truly believe that. But I think the X factors are going to be the fact that they signed O.J. Howard from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a guy who was a first-round pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, very vertical tight end, very underutilized, either between injuries or just the fact he was playing with Cameron Brace. Then he had Ron Krakowski. But this guy is a modern vertical tight end, and I expected him to have some numbers with the Buffalo Bills this year, especially with Dawson Knox. Then you have Stephon Diggs. Then you have Gabriel Davis. This offense is pretty loaded. And then they, in the draft, they got Khalil Eaglin, the corner from Florida. he's going to help out with Tre'Davious White in that secondary after they got torched by the Kansas City Chiefs. And then another guy I wanted to know, James Cook, the running back out of Georgia, the brother of Dalvin Cook. He's going to be somebody that they definitely, they had a struggle last year trying to run the ball. And, you know, with Dermott coming from that Ron Rivera tree, I expect them to get back to running the football while having those elite talent at wide receiver. So let's go ahead and talk about the New England Patriots. You know, Patriots, they're going to be the Patriots. They're going to be very consistent. They're going to be in the AFC East wild card. They're going to be competing and stuff. You know, they're always going to have a chance in this conference. Mac Jones, second year in the league. Can't wait to see how he develops and improves after his first year in the league. They really, I would say they pretty much retained everybody. I know in the draft, a lot of people say they reach, but, you know, it's Bill Belichick, man. They have a different mindset from a lot of owners and stuff. They drafted Cole Strange in the first round, a guy that was supposed to be really a day 3 type of guy, but, you know, just want to reinsure the offensive line. They're going to play their style of football. They want to run the football. They want to be very patterned in their passing game. And then their defense, they're going to create a lot of confusion for their opponents. Now, the two teams that also made big improvements, but they have a lot to prove. And that's the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. Let's talk about the New York Jets real quick. The New York Jets had a very solid offseason. Maybe even probably one of the best. But once again, let's go ahead and wait and see how they do in the regular season. But they pretty much set up Zach Wilson to be successful. They set him up to be successful. 3 of their first picks were awesome. They had Ahmad Sauce Gardner, the corner out of Cincinnati. They drafted Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. And then they traded back up and got Jermaine Johnson, the defensive end out of Florida State. So those are 3 impact players that can play right now and help this Jets team. They already drafted good last year. So now it kind of hinges on the development of this defense where Robert Saleh, he was run to New York for, and the development of Zach Wilson. It's going to be a pretty interesting thing to see in the Big Apple. Now, the Miami Dolphins. Let's talk about Miami real quick. Miami has also set their team up for success. But I think Tua really has a lot of questions. And I think Tua is slightly underrated, but he doesn't get the same love and attention as much other than like his first year in the league when he was trading spots with Ryan Fitzpatrick. So now he's in a situation where Mike McDaniel's coming from the 49ers. He traded for Tyreek Hill. You have Jalen Waddle. You have Mike Gesicki. You finally have some running backs where you can run the football and shore up that offensive line, and that defense retains the majority of their talent from last year after Brian Flores was coaching that team. So those 2 teams I mentioned, the Jets and Miami Dolphins, I expect them to be very competitive in the AFC East. But unfortunately, as of right now, I'm going to say Buffalo Bills take that division because they are clearly my Super Bowl pick. I'm not going to say they're the number 1 seed, though, because they got competition. Now, let's go ahead and go to the AFC North. Arguably the toughest or second toughest division. The Baltimore Ravens. I got some slight questions. They're going to be competitive. They got Lamar Jackson back from injury. Mark Andrews. They had a great draft. They had Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Lindenbaum. They drafted 2 more tight ends. Got majority of their defense coming back, getting some edge rush help, and then they took David Ojabo, the defensive end out of Michigan. He'll probably have a red shirt year, but I expect him to have an impact when he gets the opportunity to play. But the only question I have is they traded Hollywood Brown. Now, he's not a number 1 receiver. He has had drop issues, but it's going to be up to Rashad Bateman, unless they sign somebody in free agency, because I still believe they need some help at the wide receiver spot. it's going to be interesting. I like Bateman when he came out, but who's going to be that other guy on the outside that's going to have some production? Because he's going to be facing number one corners in that division. Then you have the Cincinnati Bengals. They were just in the Super Bowl. They lost by maybe 2 to 3 plays. They returned Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. Just that crazy offense. And they reinsured the offensive line. They reinsured the offensive line so they can impose their will on teams, let them know we're going to protect our quarterback because he is our future investment. He's going to get us back into the playoffs. And this defense returns the majority of their starters. Very sneaky defense. They're the type of defense, we're going to probably give us some yards, but you're not going to score. And I expect them to have that same playing style next year when they go against these number one teams since they have a number one schedule now. Pittsburgh Steelers come back. This is finally the end of the Big Ben era, and enter Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky. Now, when they signed Mitchell Trubisky, I had them the 4th team in the division, but I don't know now because I think Kenny Pickett, he's a plug and play guy. He's going to help elevate the talent around them. This Steelers team always going to be talented. Now let's get that straight and clear. Let's get that straight and clear. They're very talented. They have Najee Harris. They have Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson. They drafted my guy George Pickens. They have Pat Freiermuth. The only thing that concerns me is probably the offensive line. I need them to be more physical. I need them to go back to the days when they were known as Pittsburgh Steelers, very physical, gritty football team. And that defense, they're going to show up and play. They're going to show up and play. So now I had them the 4th ranked team, but I think Kenny Pickett, he's going to take that job. Whether it's Mitchell Trubisky start maybe the first couple of weeks, then we see the type of guy he is, and then the number 20th overall pick gets his shot. But I expect them to be giving them the teams in their division a hard time. And now let's go ahead and talk about one of the big surprises this offseason. The Cleveland Browns, man. Cleveland Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. They traded for Deshaun Watson, man. Deshaun Watson is now a Cleveland Brown. Monumental move. The Browns literally had probably the biggest upgrade in this offseason when it comes to quarterback play. Deshaun Watson is literally, you can argue Deshaun Watson is an elite quarterback. I mean, I'm going to leave that up to y'all. But to me, if I had a debate, there's a guy like, okay, who else is in that elite crew? I'm going to say Deshaun Watson. Now, he played on a very bad Houston Texans team after what his old coach did to that roster, and including like trading DeAndre Hopkins and traded majority of the roster away, and they went 4-12, and he still produced at a higher level. It just wasn't good enough to get the wins. Now, you go on a stacked Cleveland team where they have a great offensive line, 2-head monster running back. They reinsured the wide receiver spot with Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones, and they drafted my guy out of Purdue, David Bell. And that defense is top 10 worthy. That defensive line is one of the best in the league. They signed Denzel Ward. He got his bread. He got his money. Watch out for Cleveland. Watch out for Cleveland, man. They could possibly be arguably the fourth seed, man. AFC North is going to be a dogfight. Like, I'm telling y'all, this division is going to come down the final weeks in the season when it gets cold at. Then we're going to know what type of players we got during that. All right. Next division, the AFC South. Now, unpopular opinion, when it comes to divisions, the AFC South is literally a diet NFC East. The only difference is nobody really want to watch the AFC South play on TV. Everybody want to see Dallas. Everybody will at least want to see Philadelphia. And I know people question New York Giants and Washington, but those 4 teams are nationally televised teams because of how their market dictates. So let's look at this division. The AFC South probably took the most L's, slightly L's, out of any division I have seen. When you look at the Tennessee Titans traded their number 1 receiver to the Philadelphia Eagles, A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown got his bread, but now he is in a whole different conference. So, my question for the Tennessee Titans is, how are they going to replace that type of production? We know they're going to run the ball. We know Ryan Tannehill, the type of quarterback he's going to be. He's an average quarterback. No disrespect. It is what it is. He's going to play his part. That defense was one of the best defenses and surprise defenses that I've seen last year. And they were literally seconds away from being in the AFC title game again. So when I look at the Titans, my question is going to be how they're going to get that production again without A.J. Brown. They traded up and got Treylon Burks, but Treylon Burks and A.J. Brown are completely different. Now, they may have the same body type, but that's completely different route runner, maybe same physicality, but that's a lot of questions. But who's that number 2? Who's that number 3 guy? Who's going to step up when they have to go against guys like the Kansas City Chiefs, the Raiders, the Patriots, the Buffalo Bills, when they have to get in a shootout? Sometimes you're not going to be able to run the ball 40 times unless you are really dictating the game. Then the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts traded for Matt Ryan after they traded away Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. Now, we can sit up here and debate what you want about the is it really an upgrade or not? I know a lot of people that I have talked to over the past couple of weeks, they're kind of like this. You know, they really would rather go with a younger quarterback, but at the same time, is that young quarterback going to be ready to play instantly? Is he ready going to be playing instantly and be able to lead this team of 90 guys and 53 guys on the roster? So, that was a Colts team was supposed to be a team that reached the playoff and make some noise in the postseason, but they didn't get a chance because they swindled the last 2 games of the year. And a lot of people want to blame Carson Wentz, but at the end of the day, man, it's a team sport. I understand the quarterback position is it's arguably the most important position in the game. But I was talking to a good friend of mine, man, over the other day, and he said we have to stop this. Quarterback is the only position that matters when we're talking about football. It's the other 11 guys on that roster when it comes to offensive line, wide receivers, defensive line, linebackers, defensive backs, coaching, special team unit. All those positions matter. So when I look at the Colts offensive line, it was a good running offensive line, but when it came to passing, it was very shaky. They really didn't get no help at the wide receiver spot last year from other than Michael Pittman. You had T.Y. Hilton, you had Paris Campbell injured majority of the season. They did draft Alex Pierce, a guy that I like out of Cincinnati, and they also drafted Jelani Woods, a tight end out of Virginia after Jack Doyle retired to go with Mo Alley Cox. So Matt Ryan, we're going to see what he's going to do in this weaker, pretty much division now. And then let's go ahead and touch the other teams. You have the Houston Texans, this is a team that's going to be rebuilding once again under Lovie Smith. They did make some great moves. They drafted Derek Stingley out of LSU with their third overall pick. They're going to give David Mills a shot once again. I like what he did last year. 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He was arguably the second best quarterback out of that rookie class last year. And I expect them to maybe be very competitive, but not so much to where they could be like, hey, we're going to make it to the playoffs. I think they're still a year and a half away from getting back to the playoffs and stuff. And the last team, who else is in the AFC South? We have the Titans, we have the Texans, we have Colts. Oh, we have the Jaguars. I forgot about the Jaguars. My apologies. And the Jaguars, this is another team that's going to be heading to its second year with another brand new coach after the whole Urban Meyer debacle. Should never have been an NFL coach, by the way. But, they have Trevor Lawrence. He was the number one pick last year. This team, they're going to be like the Texans. They're going to be a year or so away. But I think they're actually going to be better than the Texans with all the people they lost. They lost a lot of people to injury. Travis Etienne didn't even get a shot to play last year with his running mate Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence came on late at the last game of the year. We're going to see, because a lot of these young quarterbacks last year, they were kind of unproven. So we're going to see year two, when year 2 and year 3, those are the years after your rookie year where we get to see that climb development, your ability to read defenses, how mentally strong you are, protections, checks at the lines, responsibility, that leadership that all teams and executives are looking for. See if you're that guy, you're going to be one of the next top across the quarterbacks. And then, after all said and done, let's go ahead and talk about the AFC West, bruh. Oh my God, the AFC West is so crazy, bro. The AFC West is crazy. Like, listen to this list, bro. Like, let's start it off. Kansas City Chiefs. You already know who on the team. Patrick Mahomes. They did trade Tyreek Hill, but I think they're going in the direction where we got Patrick Mahomes. We're going to see what he's going to do. I'm really excited to see what Patrick Mahomes really looks like without Tyreek Hill. That's a guy that has 4.3 speed that dictates the game by himself. Every time he walks in the slot, he walks outside, he plays the X, the Y, and the Z with Travis Kelce. They did sign Juju Smith-Schuster. They also drafted Sky Moore. I'm going to be so excited for this Kansas City Chiefs team. They did lose Tyrann Mathieu, though. So they do lose some leadership in that secondary. But they also drafted Trent McDuffie, corner out of Washington. There's still it's still debating who's going to be the best team in the AFC West, bro. Cause I don't even know, because I'm about to mention these other teams, man. Like the Chargers. Chargers made so many moves, bro, and it was mainly on the defensive side of the ball. Like they got Khalil Mack. On the other side, a Joey Bosa. And then you sign a corner like J.C. Jackson. And you drafted Asante Samuel Jr. last year. And then you had Derwin James in playing the safety position. And I might have to ask around about this guy. But they still have Kenneth Murray. I liked him coming out of Oklahoma. But that defense, I expect that defense to take the next step, especially to go and help. The Chargers are one of those teams, just like I talked about the Bills. They set themselves up to compete for the AFC title now because they still have Justin Herbert. I apologize. Justin Herbert on that rookie deal, and they're taking advantage of that. That top 10 offense come back, and I expect that defense under Brandon Staley to take the next step to boost and help them get over the hump. It's about time for the Chargers to get over the hump, man. man. Chargers always been that team, like, they get in the playoffs or they're always close to the playoffs and they just never get in. Then let's talk about the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos finally got a quarterback after so long. They got Russell Wilson. Traded heck of picks to get him. They now have Russell Wilson. They have Javonte Williams. They re-signed Melvin Gordon. You have Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick. They traded away the tight end, but I think that's going to be okay. That offensive line is pretty decent, especially when it comes to run blocking, and that defense brings back a top 15-ish unit. Sorry if I didn't get that stat right, but Denver always going to play some good defense up there in Colorado. Man, AFC is so crazy, man. And then let's talk about the Oakland Raiders. Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. They reunite after so long. They make moves on their defense. I pray the Raiders finally address this defense. I get so tired of watching the Raiders play bad defense for so long, man. They get Chandler Jones go with Mason Crosby. That defensive line is gonna be crazy. And the AFC West gonna be crazy. Between the AFC West and the AFC North, I don't know who's gonna win the divisions. I can pretty much tell you up front, like, I'm gonna take the Bills. I'm gonna take the Bills because they've been catching up. They finally caught up to the Patriots. And yeah, I said that. They finally caught up to the Patriots. AFC South is such a trash division. It's either going to be the Colts because of Matt Ryan, or it's going to be Tennessee because they're a way better consistent team. But the AFC West and the AFC North, man, I don't know who's going to. Those two divisions, the whole conference itself, they're going to beat up on each other. And when you beat up on people like that, you know what you gain? You're going to be way more battle tested. And then when you get to the playoffs, you're already felt the trials and tribulations. Then you get to the Super Bowl, you're already telling the other team on the other side of the ball what's up. I'm going to be so excited when the football season comes back, man. So, overall, man, AFC, man, the AFC has really changed itself. I expect the AFC to probably win the next 3 to 5 Super Bowls. And I'm dead serious about that. Especially with the way these contracts set up for the quarterbacks. It helps these rookie quarterbacks get the most help that they need. Unless they're have cap casualty situations and things like that. Teams like Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and now even 2 of those teams are setting themselves to make playoff runs. So that being said, man, that's the state of the AFC video, man. Super excited. I can't wait. I cannot wait for football season, bro. And the state of the NFC video is going to come out pretty soon. But one thing I wanted to mention up here before we head out for tonight. So be on the lookout on Thursday at 7 p.m. I will be on a podcast with a couple of the NFC's fellas up there. We're going to be talking and chopping up football and stuff, man. And you can go ahead and just look at the name. The name is right here. Be on the lookout for that, man. And come and support me, bro. You know, I'm going to support everybody else. Everybody grinding right now. Everybody doing their thing. I'm doing my thing. I'm just so happy doing what I love. So with that being said, man, I'll catch y'all later. And be on the lookout for a couple more videos, man. Peace.